So, Next Door Spy is coming out to streaming very soon, and well, I got myself an early copy of it. So let's get into it. Hello friends, and welcome back to the Brockopp side, a place for those who live, talk, and buy movies. And with all that being said, go ahead and comment down below what you thought about this movie. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Did you even know about this movie until I made this video on it? Yeah? So this movie is about a young girl named Agatha Christine, obviously named after the famous murder mystery author, who moves into a small town. She starts up her detective agency, and she's just trying to get her foot in the door. She has to solve this one crime, and that just leads into this whole other whirlwind of mystery, suspense, and sassy talking lizards. More on that later. And full disclosure, the only reason I actually know about this movie to begin with is because the studio was actually nice enough to offer me a review copy of this movie. Now, they're not paying me or anything to talk about this movie. These are 100% my own opinions. I just thought it'd be cool to point that out because, well, it's my first online screener, so it makes me feel special. So getting right into it, I love the art style in this movie. It's so quirky and unique from a lot of animated movies we see nowadays. It looks like something that was pulled straight out of a children's book. And on top of all that, this movie was actually made in Photoshop. The characters, the backgrounds, all of that, which is just really, really cool because, you take a look at a lot of these, big budget animated films are made in computers with fancy 3D technology. And then you got this movie here that was made in a program that anybody could access, which I think could be a really good point of inspiration for people that want to break into animation because, hey, you could totally make a feature film with this totally accessible program if you wanted to. And while we're on the subject of inspiration, the movie is basically about this young girl that's not into your traditional girly things like ballet, the color pink, and dating boys like that. She wants to be a detective, solving all these mysteries, and she refuses to conform to all these, girly, typical things, even though literally everybody in her life is trying to push her back and be like, hey, step it. And I think the main character's strong perseverance to be different is gonna leave a positive message for both girls and boys that watch this movie because it's like, hey, it's okay to not be a carbon copy of everybody else. That's what makes you unique. Now, the plot itself doesn't really have a whole lot of surprises to it. If you're somebody older like myself and you watch this movie, you're probably going to figure out all the twists and the turns and how the mystery is gonna be resolved well before the movie points it out to you, but I gotta keep reminding myself that I'm not the target audience for this movie, so I think if somebody a lot younger than myself was watching it, they'd still have a good time with it, going on this adventure with the main character, trying to figure out this mystery. There is one thing in the movie that did kind of catch me by surprise how it did turn out. So basically, early on in the movie, Agatha Christine meets this talking lizard that lives in her basement, slowly gets bigger and bigger, basically acts like a sassy talking animal sidekick that we've seen a million times before. And as soon as that lizard character is established, you kind of think, okay, I know exactly where this is gonna go, based on other movies I've seen, and also what Agatha Christine's personal motivation throughout the movie is. But actually, by the end of the movie, their relationship does not go exactly the way I thought it would, so in that way, the movie subverted my expectations. Something that only true cinema could achieve. Now, I do have a couple of issues with the movie itself. For one, the voice acting and the lip syncing itself seems a bit off, but on the flip side of that, I don't think that's necessarily a technical issue on the movie's part because this movie was imported from Denmark, so of course the dialogue was most likely dubbed over into English, and sometimes when you dub one language into English, it doesn't always come out how people actually speak, and there's a weird lack of music throughout the movie, which makes things feel a little bit slower in the pacing department for a movie that's only 80 minutes long. But the more I thought about those 2 points there, the more I started to realize that most likely that's just because it's following that particular style of animation, which doesn't flow the exact same way that American cartoons do. I think a good example of what I'm talking about is like the animated show Charlie and Lola. Both these projects are both non-American movies that were imported into America, made with very different styles. There's also a few random curse words thrown in throughout the movie, like one character be like, hey, what the hell, and oh, damn. So this might not be the movie you want to show to grandma, so just keep that in mind when you're watching it. But overall, I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. It's just a fun, family-friendly mystery movie with some unique animation and an overall positive message for kids watching it. And yeah, I'm glad I saw it. I'd be totally down to see more of these movies in the future. But only if the lizard comes back. Either that lizard comes back in Next Door Spy 2, or we riot. So if you want to see some more videos from me like this, you can check out this playlist right over here. And if you want to see what YouTube recommends you watch from me next, you can check out that video right down there. And of course, subscribe if you live talking by movies. And we'll see you on the Brockopp side.